I tried my hardest to examine the nothingness, although nothing can never really exist, could it? Even inside a blank circle on a canvas, there should be something. Nothing just doesn't seem to cut it. You might call it negative space, as an artist would. A negative must be taken from a positive. The two cancel each other out. It would be the equivalent of death with no afterlife. An example of negative would be death, total absence. Positive would be life, the fulfillment of life, the fulfillment of moments in time and space directly related. And the state I was in would be a neutral existence, the observance of who I was, what the universe was, and how I was to interact with it. Though I claimed my eyelids to be open and saw the white space with my eyes, I claimed it a neutral medium. I did this because I couldn't wrap my mind around its physical or positive existence. For my sake of sanity, I assumed that I was in a state of observance, that my body and surroundings were irrelevant to the positive nature. At these moments, my sole purpose of being were to explore the imaginable and to contest my sanity. That is, if there was much sanity left in me. I had no sense of time, therefore I had no way of keeping track of these thinking rampants. I'm probably only speaking of a small handful of them, many of which these thoughts I am not capable of translating to print. Thoughts far too complex for comprehension had crossed me, and to this day, that drives me insane. The white space looked icy. If I could feel, I would have been cold. I would have shivered. If I could feel, goosebumps would have shot up the arm that I would have had, the hairs would rise on the back of my neck, and my eyes would burn as they would tear up. I would take a deep breath that I could see when I released. If I could feel, I would have ran away from the cloud of breath that would have lingered in front of my face. If I could feel, my cheeks would sting and my lips would grow chapped. If I could feel, all of this could have been true, but I couldn't feel. The white space only looked cold. It was nothing more than a picture, and I was numb as a stone. Suddenly, without warning, I was placed in a new scene. Like ink bleeding through a sheet of paper, the white space was permeated by a color of pitch black, leaving countless brilliant white specks. I was falling down from the night sky. Cascades of constellations hung free in space. There was a full moon, brighter than ever and big as well. It sat in the sky boasting. They say no matter where you are on the planet, if you outstretch your arm and hold your thumb up, the moon will never be bigger than that fingernail. At that moment, even if I'd remembered the old saying, I couldn't have executed it like before. I didn't have track of my limbs, but my sight, it was astonishing. Not a single cloud was in sight to hide the glorious background it would have blocked. Raindrops fell from below. Slowly they rose past me, toward the stars. As they passed, they grew absolutely translucent, vanishing. Not one drop blurred my vision of the stars, high in contrast to the oil-slick blanket that lay behind them. It was the greatest falling sensation that I bared. Now, that's a lie. I'd only imagined the sense of my body falling, but falling doesn't seem like the right use of words for that particular moment. For in the neutral state I was in, my essence was all that mattered. It seemed more like space was rising past me. Of course, gravity would have pulled me down, but I felt like I was the source of gravity at the moment. I guess that's just how my mind processed the severity of the fall. Since, like I have said, my senses were numb. I knew I was falling only from my surroundings. The rise of the rain and the shake of the stars were the only hints I had to interpret my circumstances. The illusion was strong, and the scene wasn't real, but I didn't know that. I was too stubborn to deny myself of a positive existence. In fact, it was also strong. Throughout the fall, I found myself in a body. As I raced away from the stars, my head fell forward, and I was exposed to my legs, kicking in resistance to the air I fell through. Starting with the big toe on my right foot, I independently flicked my toes from my feet. I lost care of falling. I put all focus on the body I found myself in. Even just flicking my toes was empowering. The limbs I bared were lanky and lean. My skin wasn't pale, although it wasn't much of a tan either. The wild hair on my legs shimmered of the moon's light. I realize now how easy it is to imagine oneself in a positive world. It still scares me. My shoulders lay farthest from the stars. My neck was slightly bent and my legs flew up from my torso. In a dream now, I would have clawed at the sky, but my arms and my hands were in paralysis to my body. Limp and in awe, I fell, and at full speed the water hit me. I stopped on a dime. My head would have snapped clear off my shoulders if more physical laws had applied. For a moment I lied on the surface of the ocean. Then through the dark blue depths, I sank. My eyes remained focused above me. Air escaped the lungs I had dreamt. As fast as air rose from my lungs, the salt water rushed in. The sky was of a blur, but the stars still shone bright as before. The ocean sloshed and swayed, the specks of light radiating through space. The air that escaped me rose slowly. The quantity of air I lost was unbelievable. Through each sphere of carbon dioxide that rose to the surface was a mirror image of the world above it. It was the greatest moment of beauty I had witnessed in my life. My visual representation of this dream began to fade to black. First my direct sight, then my peripherals escaped me. During the following period of time, I don't remember anything special happening. I guess I witnessed black, but I don't remember the black. How can you remember the absence of energy? There are no descriptive properties to match the scenario. Like I brushed over before, this nothing thing could have lasted a decade or a millisecond. When you have no surroundings to justify time, time is of no matter. Time becomes a myth with no empirical evidence to prove any suggested periods of length. Time began to be just a word to me, nothing more. Time was only used to justify the passing of scenarios. In my case, there was nothing to prove the scenarios. Is there ever? In the absence of all, I found myself, not the named, nurtured, and influenced me. I found the me that we all are. We're all born as people, people yet to form opinions, people yet to hate, people yet to love. Then as life goes on, whether due to free will, influence, or some wild, predetermined fate, we start to turn into unique beings of the universe. As for the passing of time, I'd started to develop a deeper understanding. When you're about and unconscious, your perspective of time is dependent upon passing scenarios. When you perceive your life in action, you process information as it happens. When you stop paying attention to the world around you, then is when you can think independently of time. When in a focused thought, your brain can process things about as fast as it would like to. This could be why you think up a process that would consist of a live minute in a matter of seconds. Your brain is able to fast forward real time in a comprehensible fashion. Your view of the universe is solely dependent on how you process it through your mind.